Some of them try massage parlors, soapy massage parlors. They go on dating apps. Now, what you might not realize is some of them, quite a few of them actually, have already been married to foreigners, so they know how foreigners' brains ticks. It's not like when you talk to the girls, you can tell stories and, you know, they'll believe some of what you say, not all of what you say. With the mamasans, a lot of them are very experienced with foreigners. They speak very good English. A lot of them, they've been to Australia, they've been to the UK, they've been to America. They might have married. You know, you'll always get guys who go into them bars, fall in love with girls when they're younger, marry them. It doesn't work out. They come back to Thailand and they go back into what they know, which is if they're getting on a bit now, if they've been married, if they were working in a bar, they've been married 5-10 years and she's had to come back to Pattaya, then obviously she's got to continue working. So there's no point in giving a mamasan BS, lying, because they'll see straight through you, and she'll lose any respect that she had for you. As I say, they are very experienced. Most of them, a lot of them have been abroad, and those who haven't been abroad have normally had long-term foreign boyfriends or sponsors who have looked after them. So they know how you think. So, you know, it's just not worth going in there and telling them stories. It's better to just be truthful, and you'll get on a little bit better with them. Right, here's one that comes up quite often. I've been around the bars with friends many times over the years, and one of the questions that comes up, they'll say, can you bar fine a mamasan? Can you take, if you don't know what a bar fine is, you pay the bar to compensate them to take a girl out to join you for a meal or something like that. So the question is, can you bar fine a mamasan? So the obvious question to that is, as most of them are, well, all of them are ex-working girls, then yeah, of course you can. But is it a good idea? No, it's not. I've seen a lot of guys, especially newbies to somewhere like Pattaya, they see it as a challenge that, you know, here's the mamasan who runs all these beautiful girls, you know, and they want to bar fine her because it is a challenge to them. But it's a big mistake, really. The last experience I had of that, where I seen a guy bar fine a mamasan, he bought the mamasan a couple of drinks. Of course, she lapped it up. It was about midnight. He wanted to bar fine her. He paid the bar, expecting her to go and get her coat, but of course she's the mamasan. She said, look, you'll have to wait for me, the bar closed at 2. So the poor guy had to sit there 2 hours and wait for her to finish, a bit more than 2 hours actually, because the bar closed at 2 hours, but they have to clear up, don't they? And then the other thing is where he's lost out, or where you'll lose out if you take up that challenge, is of course the girls are very loyal to the mamasan. They wouldn't dare step on her feet. They'll all know that you have been out with a mamasan. The word will go around that bar really fast, and the next time you go into that bar, girls will come up and joke with you, and you say, oh, you boyfriend mamasan, and you won't get a look in with anybody, because as far as them girls in that bar are concerned, you are now the boyfriend of that mamasan. That is how they think. I know it's crazy. You watch this and you think, you know, one night of company, how can they think that? But they do think that, and they are afraid of the mamasan to step on her toes, as I say. So it's not a good idea. Yes, it's a challenge, but it's not much of a challenge because they'll say yes anyway. Okay, so let's now, we've been going for about 12 minutes. I just want to tell you about some of the white lies that the mamasans tell you. So these are, you know, obviously she's looking after the girls and she's trying to look after you as well. So it's in her interest to, when she talks about the girls, not put them in a bad light. So if you ask about a certain girl or certain girls, and she's going to lie a little bit to cover their tracks. And I'm just going to go through a few of these. There aren't too many, 7 or 8. And these are the sort of things you'll hear. So if you go as a newbie into a bar in Thailand and you ask one of these questions, then at least you know what might come back from her. So the first one, right, so you've got friendly with a girl, and you might have been taking her out before or just has a few drinks, but you've decided to go back into that bar, and she's not there, and the mamasan says, well, she will be back, just stay for a while and have a drink, but she'll be back. And you like this girl, so you decide to stay, but actually she doesn't come back all night. So what she's achieved by that is, if you did wait for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, during that time you'd have purchased a number of drinks, which is good for her. It gives her, you know, the bar sees that she's encouraging you to buy drinks, so it puts her in a good light. The other thing she's going to try and do, she's going to try and encourage you, because she knows that girl isn't coming back. So what she'll do while you're drinking, she'll come over and she'll be telling you little stories. You know, this girl's just started tonight and this girl's very good, and she'll be trying to encourage you to get off, get with one of the other girls. And so if you go into a bar and the girl you like's not there, it's simple. Go and have a drink somewhere else. And if you want to come back after that and look again, you can do that several times. At least you're not stuck or tied to that one bar, are you? Okay, another thing, this is quite an obvious one. Another thing she might tell you, she might say, you know, the bar's been really quiet tonight. Not many people have been in. I haven't had any drinks or tips. It's awful tonight. And the reason she'll tell you that is because that will encourage you to buy her a drink. Then you're like, you know, like, oh, it's been quiet. Well, I'll buy you a drink, you know. And they're very clever, and that's why they'll tell everybody that. They'll tell you the bar's been very quiet, even if it's full. They'll say it's just become full. It's been quiet all night. Just got busy when you came in. Funny enough. Okay, and the other thing is, if she's a particular girl, she's trying to help out with to get her a bit more business, she might say to you something like, you know, this girl, she's been so unlucky this week. You know, all the girls have been out and she hasn't been out for a week. She's not very popular for some reason. And you look at her and you think, well, she's quite pretty. I can't understand why that is. And she'll say, no, she hasn't, you know, nobody's paid her bar. She hasn't had any drinks and she comes in dancing every night. So what that does, you'll look at her and you think she looks quite nice, but because she's told you nobody's taken her out for a week, that's kind of quite appealing, isn't it? Because you think, oh, you know, I don't want to get into great detail here. You have to read between the lines, but I think you can guess what I mean. Okay, sometimes the mama-san will kind of push you towards a certain girl. So all the girls are under her, so you'd think it doesn't really matter which girl, because she benefits from whatever girl, but she seems to push you towards one particular girl. And if you don't take up on that, then she'll come again and she'll tell you more compliments about that girl. The reason normally for that is that one particular girl will either be a family member of the mama-san, or she'll be a very close friend, more close than the other girls. Maybe she comes from the same village, lives in the same street, I don't know. Or the other reason is the girl might, you know, they share rooms. It's cheaper like that, isn't it? So normally two to a room, they rent a room, and perhaps this one girl shares a room with a mama-san or a small apartment, so they're very good friends. And the girl will say, look, help me out tonight, I've got some bills, and this is what happens. So she'll encourage you. So she's pushing you on to one girl. You know what the reason is.
สถานีต่อไปนานา next station นานา
Okay, another thing they'll tell you to try and encourage you, if you haven't been in that bar too often, or a new girl starts, what they'll say, so let's just say you're a regular in that bar, you've been in Pattaya for 2 weeks, and then you've been in that bar sort of every other night, and you like the bar, and you go in one night and you notice there's a girl on stage that you haven't seen before, she's quite pretty. And the mama-san will say to you, yeah, she's just come down from the village today. She's never been with a customer. She's never been to a hotel for drinks with anybody. And, you know, I've taken her under my wing. She just arrived from the village, and, you know, maybe you can help me out, and you're a nice guy. Maybe you can bar fine her and show what it's all about. And that's very, very appealing. Again, I don't want to get into details to why, but again, you're going to be very keen on that idea. And most of the time, the reason you haven't seen her is because she's been working in another bar or another area, and she's probably come from maybe she came from Bangkok to Pattaya, or Pattaya to Bangkok. So the mama-san knows she can say she's just come from the village, because if she'd come from a bar down the street, she's running the risk of you finding out, her losing face, because you might have been in that bar and say, well, hang on a minute, I had a drink there last night and she was working there. So they're not stupid. If she's come down, like I say, from Bangkok to Pattaya, Pattaya to Bangkok or Phuket, wherever it is, and she knows that girl wasn't in town, then she'll tell you, you know, she's just come down from a village. I've taken her under my wing. Maybe you can help out and show what it's all about. And again, very, very appealing. So this is why they'll tell you these stories. So the mama-san might notice you going regularly. You're a customer in her bar, but you're a regular in the bar across the road. So sometimes a mama-san will go outside, have a cigarette maybe on the street, and she'll see you a few times go in this bar. Well, what they sometimes do is, when you eventually come to her bar for a drink, she'll just make up some stories about that bar. She won't kind of necessarily say she's seen you go in there, but she might say one or two of the girls she'd heard were sick, or she'd heard they know one of the girls who are working in this bar came from that bar and she witnessed them putting water in the whiskey or something like that. And that's just to kind of put you off going to that bar, and you go to her bar for obvious reasons. Okay, so something very, very similar here. I'm just referring to my notes. Something very similar is if she sees you're about to pay your bill, this isn't often, but I've seen it happen. So maybe the bar's closing at 3 a.m. It's now 12:30, and she can see you're preparing, you're getting ready. They can tell when you're getting ready to leave and you haven't asked for your bill, but you're preparing. She might come across and tell you, did you know it's a public holiday today? I've heard a lot of the bars will be closed down, but I've got very good connections with the police and you're safe in this bar. If you stay here, then you can drink till 3 in the morning.